believe it or not, VMware is free for Linux. I can install it, and it does have DirectX support up to DirectX 10. So, I can create a virtual XP or a virtual Vista, and I can run it in Linux, and I can actually, use DirectX games. I do that with my children. My children like to use my file server and web server. I have a Linux Ubuntu file server web server as sort of their game machine. So what I do is, I keep it running as a web server on Linux, and then I just boot up the virtual machine, an XP virtual machine in VMware, and they can play their DirectX 9 games. And that's okay as long as it's, not super fancy 3D. But if you get into super fancy 3D, VMware and virtual machines are not the way to go. They eat up a lot of performance, and yeah, I'd probably just end up booting back into, Vista or Windows. So I can't say that, the game support in Linux is anywhere near the level of game support that you would have with the Windows operating system, but give it some time. It's getting there. And aside from that, aside from DirectX games, there's nothing that I do in Windows that I can't also do in Linux for free in open source GNU public licensed software. In addition, there are ports for Half-Life, Halo. There are ports for Unreal Tournament that run in Linux, Doom, in native mode. There's also a program called Wine that I'm going to install. And when you install Wine, it'll let you actually install and run Windows programs. It doesn't work with all Windows programs, but it lets you run some Windows programs in native mode. I've successfully gotten like Counter-Strike, Half-Life 1, Winamp, Office 2003, things like that to run under Wine natively on a Linux machine. It does that by creating sort of a fake Windows environment inside the Linux environment. It creates a Windows, the equivalent of a C partition and all the directories, the system and Windows directory, and it creates a registry. It sort of fools those applications or programs into believing that they're on a Windows system when in reality they're on a Linux system. Okay, and I'm just kind of finalizing my changes here, installing these last few changes, and this is sort of like the Windows installer service. It just makes sure that you have all the interdependencies when you install a package. Now, the other way to install software is my personal preference, and that's the Synaptics Package Manager. And I'm going to grab that from over here. The Synaptics Package Manager is really neat. Sort of a Debian thing. I'm going to check not to show that or startup, but you can choose by category. It just lets you, there's just so much open source, GNU open source software out there that you can install chess games and, multimedia formats. I'll do one more on video, and then it's going to take me quite a while to download and install everything that I want. So what we'll do is I'll come back after I've got everything installed, and that'll save some time and cut down the amount of minutes to this video. But we'll do one more program. So I'm going to do a search, and I'm going to look for XMMS, which is the Ubuntu player for MP3s and just different different audio formats. So XMMS over here. And there's a lot of different plugins that go with XMMS. I'm going to go ahead and install that. And these are all the dependencies here, the libraries, and they're all under the GNU license. They're free, so they will install. With that checked, I'm going to go ahead and select Apply, and it'll show me what's going to be installed. All of these libraries here, and then all of that is unchanged. So, notice the summary, 202 packages are held back. Those are the packages here I need to upgrade. 5 new packages will be installed. I'm going to click Apply. In many ways, this is, more versatile than the Windows installer in terms of the options it gives you, the information that it gives you. So again, this is the last one I'll do on the video to save time. I've got probably at least a good half hour, maybe 45 minutes of downloading, installing, and configuring things. Maybe even more, maybe an hour or more. But then we'll get this, we want to create a nice workstation, sort of a multimedia powerhouse workstation that does all those fun things that we like. Video editing, playing movies, playing sound, audio, burning DVDs. So we'll do that. And then we'll take a look at some of these server services. Changes are applied. I'm going to click OK, and then I'll go ahead and close the package manager. Okay, that's it for now, and we'll come back a little later and take a look.